few months ago, London's Walking and Cycling Commissioner stated that cycling had become too white and was deeply concerned about the lack of gender and racial diversity among the operators of two-wheeled pedal-powered conveyances. As a consequence, actual diversity quotas are seriously being considered to address the glaring absence of women, Muslims, and people of color on their bicycles in Britain. This follows a dangerous trend in which whites are the only group that government can interrogate and critically scrutinize whenever more than one of them seems to be enjoying themselves. The basic theory is, if more than two white people are engaged in some kind of hobby, it is in dire need of diversity, and the simple presence of whites will somehow scare all the people of color away. We could probably critique the strange phenomena of implicit racial bias towards white people going completely unremarked, as if it's just natural to fear the All-Aryan Bowling League. Clearly, if we were talking about white people feeling intimidated by a large presence of blacks, that would imply racism, but the converse is never true. In this case, the mammal menace, in which cycling is dominated by white middle-aged men in lycra, policymakers are scratching their heads as if the ethnic homogeneity is evidence of some vast racist conspiracy. It makes one wonder if these idiots really believe that there are violent skinhead cyclist gangs silently cruising on their overpriced carbon fiber road bikes looking for blacks to beat up with their bicycle pumps. Are we really supposed to believe that women and minority groups are somehow intimidated by gangly cardio fags wearing skin-tight lycra? This isn't a new phenomenon. Just try a little experiment and type any random activity into Google followed by the phrase "too white" or "unbearable whiteness," and observe the frantic hand-wringing over how every facet of life suffers from an inundation of demyelinated colonizers. Wistful introspection and navel-gazing commences the very instant someone observes a proportionately appropriate number of honkies engaged in virtually any sort of enterprise. Can't go running, work as a librarian, play video games, or swing a fucking tennis racket without the social justice inquisition dissecting you for racism. The levels of absurdity achieved by this analysis reach the point of self-parody, as in the white supremacist implications based on the color white itself. Accepting the one obvious counterexample of a non-white group being scrutinized for overrepresentation, you can't get a fair analysis of something that the most brain-dead normie would immediately think of. This phenomena is just the logical corollary of assuming that white people do not have a culture, completely invalidating the concept whites could ever have distinct pursuits in the first place. It's all part of a blatant delegitimization of an entire race of people, which according to their very own sociological theory is the very first thing someone does to a suspect class before brutally oppressing them. Despite bicycles originating in Europe and professional bike racing evolving as a pursuit of white European men, this is not in any way perceived as a natural pastime for that ethnic group in the same way that jazz music and fatally shooting people over their sneakers is widely accepted as authentic black culture. Apparently, if a white man is engaged in something, he is at best functioning as a placeholder until a more worthy group comes along, and at worst is actively blocking the POCs entitled to this hobby. This is what anti-white propaganda looks like. It is real, it is dangerous, and the hostile liberal elite is consciously trying to delegitimize whiteness. They're effectively denying whites any avenue for personal satisfaction, but more importantly, this will act as a prelude to real genocide.